I'm Tony Parella. It sure is fun to address all of you, talk about a little bit about SVRA. Certainly has become a labor of love in a hurry. A lot of folks have asked me why I got involved with SVRA, and I think it's important to know A, what we're planning, and B, what we've done so far and what we think the future holds. Start off with I've been a vintage racer for a little over 3 years now. I was exposed to vintage racing through a group called SVRA, and they're based out of Texas, and cut my teeth learning the rules of the road, so to speak, with the SVRA group. And then ventured out, had a chance to go back to New York, where I'm originally from, and race at Watkins Glen with SVRA.
This is what vintage racing's about. First of all, to be able to race and come downtown and do the reenactment with my daughter is pretty special. And to come ripping down through town and see, I don't know how many people lined in the street to pay tribute to it. It's a privilege, clearly. Well, this is where it all began, and I grew up 80 miles from here, and to, in a sense, come home. I came here as a kid to see races, and now to come back and actually participate on the track, and then through the original course, it doesn't get better than that. And that's what makes being part of SVRA so special.
In my career, I've had many successful ventures, and I saw an opportunity within vintage racing. Really, this is the first time in my business life that I'm running a company that I'm absolutely enamored or in love with the product that we sell. Let's talk about some of the directional things that we're going to do and what we're planning. In 2012, SVRA put on 5 races. In 2013, we'll actually put on 17 races across the country. And when you think of the tracks that we're going to be running at, it's literally the who's who of American road racing circuits. And ultimately, we're going to be hosting a national championship at Circuit of the Americas. And I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to see that track, but it's absolutely incredible. And to finish our season there and have a national championship, I think raises the experience overall of vintage racing and makes it more serious. A lot of folks have asked me, why are we doing a national championship? Doesn't that fly in the face of the spirit of vintage racing? And I say no, just the opposite. Our theory is really revolves around a handful of things. Number one, driver conduct. We have zero tolerance for any kind of contact. We want aggressive wheel-to-wheel racing, but yet controlled. So if you put it on a meter or percentage, you should be racing at about 85%, but making sure that you have full control of your car not to have any contact. We don't want to win at all cost professional racing type environment. We want good wheel-to-wheel racing that's competitive, that's fair, that's safe, but with zero contact. So an element of our national championship will have a driver conduct portion. Second part is, we think there's a high degree of importance for keeping these cars authentic as possible. Over the years, there's been so many iterations or versions of what was authentic back in the day. And what we're going to try to do more than anything, our number one credo is not to make people spend more money and undo what's already been approved. That would be senseless and probably foolish. People who have a true unmodified 1960-something car, 1950-something car with no modifications are racing against other cars like that. Cars that have had some modifications to the brakes, to the motor, to whatever, that gives them some sort of a performance advantage. We want to group those folks in the same class. So we have comparable equipment versus comparable equipment. And I think that element of the national championship will be very, very important. And then finally, the last element will be driving performance. It's fun to win a race, but it's just as fun, to me anyways, to advance your position. It really doesn't matter if you come in first or you come in 15th. If you're out there racing wheel to wheel with somebody for 10, 15, 20 laps, or in the case of enduro, many more, that you're really sparring wheel to wheel, giving each other the respect and courtesy you should out there, but driving to try to get by the person in front of you. As I've traveled around the country, attended races, it's amazing when someone describes the experience of winning a race, a vintage race, or or even participating in a race, that their family or their father or somebody was there. I've seen people get emotional. It's as if they've won the Indy 500 or the Daytona 500 and they've just participated in a 10-lap race. And it's very important to me that we make that part of vintage racing very special.